The D-backs aren't the only team on the hunt this postseason. In fact, they have some extremely coveted team members that are proving to be quite the envy of the rest of the league.
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up and welcome to another episode of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, the show where we talk nothing but the Diamondbacks Monday through Friday. And thank you so much for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every single day. I'm your host, Diamondbacks. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. We have some very interesting news to talk about today. The Diamondbacks have been kind of in the hot seat for needing to acquire some new talent, particularly in the pitching area as well as at first base, which we're going to talk about today. But the Diamondbacks aren't the only team in the major leagues, actually, and they're not the only team that didn't make the playoffs, as though it might feel like we kind of have the worst team in baseball, at least for us. Turns out, no, the Diamondbacks actually are doing quite a bit better than a lot of teams. And one team in particular has their eyes on one Jordan Lawler. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Diamondbacks team awards. I was informed by none other than my dad, who commented on yesterday's episode that I keep saying the Diamondbacks, and that is apparently not true. My grammar is not the best. I guess my dad didn't teach me grammar very well, but he was like, when it's the plural and it's possessive, then you don't add the it's not the Diamondbacks team awards, it's the Diamondbacks team awards. Sorry, Dad. I will try and be better about that one. But we're also talking about a potential Paul Goldschmidt return to the Valley. So exciting stuff. And we're going to get started by jumping right into an article that was posted by Eric Cole on housethathankbuilt.com. And he is talking about a dilemma that the Braves find themselves in. So according to this article here, Braves must call this team immediately if rumors are true and Ha-Seong Kim opts out. I hope I'm saying his name right, but Kim, we'll just call him Kim from here. And a very ominous picture of the back of Jordan Lawler, but also Marte, which, what are they meaning by that? They're not talking about Marte. So anyway, this article basically covers the fact that their recent call-up, Ha-Seong Kim, or Kim, as I said I would call him, he really has stood out and performed very, very well this season, and has an opt-out for the upcoming 2026 season. And it was not likely that he was going to opt out. It was probably going to stay with the team. However, the end of the season ended very poorly for the Braves. They did not do as well as they wanted, and Kim outperformed what he was expected. And so there is a very good chance that he will be getting some offers this offseason and will likely opt out of the 2026 year with the Braves, which means they are going to be missing a key role at shortstop. Now, Eric Cole here, who is writing this article, says this. He says this, actually, I have a little program monitor off to the side that shows the graphic, but I'm just going to read it from the actual article because the words are too small for my old man eyes. But there is a way to make this sort of trade make sense for both sides. So he's talking about, well, let's get Jordan Lawler from the Diamondbacks. According to Eric, this is the best call for the Braves right now, is to make an offer for Jordan Lawler. There is a way to make this sort of trade make sense for both sides. The Diamondbacks have a lot going for them in their lineup, led by Perdomo, Corbin Carroll, and Ketel Marte. But they really need pitching, especially with some of the guys expected to leave in free agency. Atlanta doesn't have a ton of depth in their farm system, particularly in the infield, but they do have some pitching prospects that could be included in such a move. And he points out first-round pick Cam Caminiti, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, who went to high school in Scottsdale and is highly regarded. However, he was a first round pick, but he is still very early on in where he is. So this is the prospect rankings for the Braves, and he is their number one pick, but he is still in single A. He hasn't had very much experience. His estimated time of arrival isn't until 2028. He's only 19 years old. A pitcher, first round pick, that can often not actualize. It can often not actually materialize. So if I were the GM and the Braves were to come to me and they'd be like, "Hey, we got this kid. And here's his stats. He was in rookie league this year. Sorry, he's in rookie league this year, but he ended up making it up to our single A, and he has a 2.08 ERA in single A. We want to make a deal, Jordan Lawler, for Caminiti. What do you say?" I'd be like, "Heck no." Not even a little bit. And Jordan Lawler is our number one guy, and he's here right now. Now I can see a lot of people saying, "Well, he wasn't very he kind of stunk it up. He's going to be a dud." I don't think he will be a dud. I think that he is going to be. From what I've seen, he's a future all-star. He's young and he's still figuring out his pitch selection and his swing and all that kind of stuff. But he is very, very talented. And my dog in the background agrees. If you guys can hear my dog, who's very excited for some reason, he's really getting into the Lawler train. And so I think now that being said, I don't think that it's completely off the table, because as Eric Cole says, we do have a pretty good lineup. We have, Marte, we have Perdomo, we have Moreno, we have who's the other person? We have Corbin Carroll, and we have a lot of prospects that I think are going to provide some really good offense, like Blaze Alexander, amongst others. So parting with Lawler is acceptable, but we need to get some pretty serious return for that. And one single A pitcher is not going to do that. So they have a handful of others. They have in their prospect list that we could end up, if we were like, okay, give us Cam Caminiti, give us J.R. Ritchie, who has done fairly well in AAA. We kind of keep going down the list. Didier Fuentes had a stint this last year in the majors, didn't do super well, but he's a young 20-year-old guy, so I can see that. So if they were like, hey, here's 3 of our top 10 prospect pitchers, then I could see that being tempting. But still, I don't know that I necessarily want to go that route of parting with Lawler. I think we ride him out, and I think we hold on to him, because we can get pitchers from other places without having to trade Jordan Lawler. So that would be that's my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments, which, by the way, you guys are being great in the comments, letting me know all your thoughts. Yesterday's podcast episode, we talked about the history of the Diamondbacks jerseys. Jesus had a really cool comment on there, which I'm not going to go all the way through right now. Also, our MTPM, your acronym name, RMP5S. There we go. I got it. Leaving a very, very fun comment on your thoughts on the jerseys. That was really cool. So thank you for sharing your guys' thoughts with me on that. So anyway, yeah, if there's going to be a deal made that involves us parting with Lawler, it needs to be a pretty stacked deal. Honestly, I don't think I would be interested unless it's like stupid for Atlanta to make the offer. Not because I think Lawler is worth it right now, but one, I don't want another Dansby Swanson situation, or I mean, Chaz Chisholm was, I think we got a good deal with him, but we've had a lot of prospects that we traded away and turned out to be superstars. And I think Lawler's going to be one of them. So anyway, we're going to talk next about the Diamondbacks team awards, which the awards that they give out internally for most valuable player, pitcher, rookie of the year, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about that real quick, as well as our thoughts on that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. So the Diamondbacks announced yesterday the winners of their team awards, and the most valuable player on the Diamondbacks in 2025 is, unsurprisingly, shortstop Geraldo Perdomo. The most valuable pitcher, we're just going to barrel through these. The most valuable pitcher, which I thought might be kind of a toss up. I was kind of curious to see how this was going to go down. Ended up going to Ryan Nelson, who I think absolutely deserves it. Rookie of the year, this one was kind of a surprise to me, but I also agree with, is pitcher Andrew Saalfrank. And the Good Guy Award, which I still don't know exactly what that means. I was looking into it to try and figure out what it means. I think it just means the guy that everybody likes on the team and is good at what he does on and off the field, went to pitcher Zach Gallen. Sorry if you guys are watching this. My hair is crazy today, and I don't have a hat in here at the moment. I have an athletics hat, but I'm not going to put an Oakland A's hat on during the Diamondbacks podcast. So anyway, so we have Perdomo, Nelson, Saalfrank, and Gallen as our winners. Perdomo had, let's just recap Perdomo's year here. He had 20 home runs this year, which is a lot by any metric. I haven't hit 20 home runs in my life. I've hit maybe 2 in softball, but 20 home runs, which is actually more than all of his previous years combined. So talk about a breakout year for Geraldo Perdomo. I remember going into the season thinking, no, Perdomo's not a power hitter. He might hit 2 or 3 home runs this year, and that'll be great. 20 home runs is fantastic, is amazing, like beyond all expectations. 100 RBIs, first shortstop to do that. Not the first Diamondback to do that, but the first shortstop to do that, which is impressive because shortstops are a big thing that makes a shortstop valuable is their glove, is their defense. Perdomo has that, and he has the ability to bat runs in. So very impressive. A 290 average, an on-base percentage well above 1/3. He has a 7.1 WAR, which is 5th in the league. 7.1 WAR. So we would have 7 to 8 less wins if it wasn't for just Geraldo Perdomo. And that's just according to the metrics. It's probably much higher than that. But the crazy thing is, though, he's only 25 years old. Like, he's just getting started. He's here until 2029, 2030. Like, we have him here for a long time, and he's just getting going. So that is super exciting. I am so happy and excited to see Perdomo, as well as Carroll and others that we have on the team for the next extended period of time, being successful. It's so exciting. It's so cool. And Perdomo, especially, as the guy who everybody's able to rally behind and follow, and he's able to set that trend. And he's just an absolute unit. Wonderful guy, wonderful baseball player. Absolutely deserves most valuable player on the Diamondbacks and should 100% get some MVP votes league-wide. So very, very good. For the most valuable pitcher, we had a lot of pitchers this year, and that's not really a good thing. And sometimes it felt like they were kind of bragging, like, oh, the Diamondbacks have more relief pitchers record a save than any other team in the majors. And I'm like, I don't think that's good. I think that's kind of a bad thing, because that means that none of our relief pitchers are able to like hold on to that role. That means there's no role, there's no organization in the bullpen. So anyway, that's not what we're talking about today, though. We're talking about Ryan Nelson. Now, he started in the bullpen in the year because our rotation was just stacked with incredible pitchers, But after the Corbin Burns injury, he made his way back into the rotation and ended up being one of, if not our most reliable pitcher, especially at the end of the season. Now, he had a 3.39 ERA, but if you only factor in his starts, he has a 3.16 ERA in 23 starts. He had a 7-3 record, which is better than any of our other pitchers. Because like Zach Gallen had a really good finale, a good end of the season. Eduardo Rodriguez had a good end of the season. Brandon Pfaadt was fairly consistent. He had his ups and downs, but he was pretty good. But Ryan Nelson was by far our most consistent pitcher. He had 132 strikeouts and only 41 walks in those 23 starts. So that's less than 2 walks a game. And then he had a 3.4 WAR. So very impressive. And Nelson is another one I'm very excited to know that we have him on the roster for a good while. And I want nothing more than to see Ryan Nelson really secure his spot in the rotation this upcoming year. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being our best pitcher in 2026, not for a lack of good pitching, but just because he is proving to be that good. And so I this year, I think he wasn't an exceptional pitcher, but he was a very good and consistent pitcher. What would be nice is next year is if he can step that up a little bit and become an excellent, consistent pitcher. That's my hope for Ryan Nelson next year, and I think he absolutely can do that. Andrew Saalfrank, now he did pitch in 2023, but was suspended for a year for reasons that we won't get into, I guess. But which was really disappointing because he showed a lot of promise in 2023 and has continued to show that upon his return in 2025. Now he's only pitched 29 innings in relief this season, which you're looking at like most like full season relief pitchers, if they're very good, will pitch 60 innings, 50 to 60. So he's on the lower end, but he only gave up in those 29 innings 4 runs. 4 earned runs in 29 innings. He has a 1.24 ERA in a league where, a good pitcher has 3+ ERA. And then his whip, which is runners on base, essentially walks or hits per inning, is 1.0. So he gives up 1 run or 1 base runner per inning, and that's it. Again, anything below 1 is next level elite pitching. And Saalfrank, again, he's just getting started. This was his rookie year. So he, I think, is going to be an excellent pitcher in our bullpen. And I hope to see him get that closer position next year. And I hope when Justin Martinez comes back, it's a real competition between the two, and they eventually find the sweet spot. Because could you imagine you get somebody like, let's say, Puck, who comes in every other 7th inning, and then Saalfrank every other 8th inning, and then Martinez every 9th inning, and it's just 1, 2, 3. Each of them are untouchable. Saalfrank, he induces a lot of ground balls, which means quick innings, and a very quick 8th inning when you're trailing the team is such a demoralizing thing to happen. And so to have a lead, what's the word I'm thinking of? A lead up guy. I can't remember what the word is. You guys probably know what it is, but to have the guy the setup pitcher, to have a very effective setup pitcher is key. And that was something we had in McFarland and David Hernandez when we had the best bullpen in the league way back in 2011 or 2006 or something I don't remember the years exactly. So I'm sorry. Stop yelling at your phone for my inaccurate statements, but you get the idea. Anyway, and then finally the what was that? The Good Guy Award went to Zach Gallen, which Zach Gallen has shown, I think, in like interviews and post-game chats and stuff that the guy's a Diamondback. He loves the team. He loves the players. He loves the coaches. And he is, he seems like he is just a really great guy, a really great teammate, a great friend. And I'm sad to see him likely leave this offseason. It kind of like, I got emotional watching his interview after his last start, talking about how he doesn't want to take his jersey off. Like, that is that's a really good sign of a guy who's happy to be where he is, doesn't want to leave, wants to give his best. He didn't always give his best, especially specifically this year, but he always tried his best. And that was really what mattered, I think. And he is going to go down as he has the third most strikeouts in all of Diamondbacks history. He trails Brandon Webb and Randy Johnson. And he's made history as a Diamondback. And I would love to see him return. To be honest, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? To see Zach Gallen return would be really great. I would love that. It may not be the smartest thing to do, but it would do my heart good. Anyway, you guys, we are going to talk about, speaking of a legacy player for the Diamondbacks, we have another legacy player that we're going to be talking about right after this. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. Now, what do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla riding a T-Rex? You got confidence, pure confidence. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiet Go Long. That's where Rougiet Go Long comes in. It's not just another ED pill, it's a total game changer for confidence. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 15% off your first order. That's Rougiet, rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Make sure you use our code so that they know that we sent you. Now, with the Yankees being eliminated this week, a lot of fans' season ended right there. Now, am I sad that the Yankees got eliminated? Absolutely not. I feel bad. I like John Boy Media and I like all the guys over there, and I know they're upset, so that's a bummer. But I don't care. Actually, I'm really happy to see the Yankees out. Unfortunately, last night the Dodgers eliminated the Phillies, which I don't like the Phillies all that much either. So, okay. I wish it was the Reds that eliminated the Phillies. I wish it was us that eliminated the Phillies, but whatever. So we'll see if the Brewers or the Cubs can do the job and keep the Dodgers out of the World Series again. But which is another, I'm rooting for the Brewers. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about a potential return of one Paul Goldschmidt. Now, I mentioned in a previous episode that we do need a first baseman. There's a very good chance that we'll probably just stick with Locklear, Tim Tawa, Pavin Smith. We'll kind of rotate between them all. And when Locklear kind of gets his footing, assuming he starts the season not on the injured list, which he very well might with the surgeries that he's going to be having, he still has a lot of growth to do. And if he doesn't start the season off the injured list, that means he also isn't going to have spring training to kind of get things started. So he's going to be starting kind of right off the bat. So I don't feel super confident about Locklear taking that position in full stride, but we do have bigger needs with pitching. That being said, I would argue that there is a big need for a first baseman, and a first baseman with a lot of experience, because we have a very young team now, and there's a good chance that a lot of our fielders and a lot of our pitchers are going to be young players, especially towards the end of the season. Hopefully not, but if we are plagued by injuries again, which we just kind of have to count on at this point, that we have these older players who can kind of mentor the younger players and show them how to do things. And who better Then Paul Goldschmidt, who was a Diamondback for the first, I think it was 8 years of his career, and who is likely going to be a Hall of Famer. He is going to be a free agent and will likely, if he were to stay on the Yankees, he would likely be playing second fiddle to Ben Rice, who is a catcher, first baseman, who really came into his own this year. He did a very good job. He hit 26 home runs, but as far as defense goes, he struggled behind the plate more so than at first base. So there's a very good chance that next year Ben Rice is going to be their main first baseman, and Paul Goldschmidt and him would platoon the position. And I think Goldschmidt wants to play still. I don't think he wants to be second fiddle to another younger guy. He did say after the loss, he said, "I think I'd like to continue playing, but I haven't sat down and thought about it. I was expecting to continue to play here and all that, but I still love playing. I still have fun out there. I still want to try to go win. Love to compete. So we'll see so we'll have to see what happens." Sorry, I have a hard time reading Paul Goldschmidt quotes, apparently. This year he did start to show his, signs of aging. He's 38. He'll be 38 going into this next season. He started the year very, very hot and then kind of nosedived and then kind of leveled back up. But he ended the season with a 274 average, 10 home runs, 31 doubles, and a 1.2 B WAR. So impressive still. I think still very impressive. And if you look at his average against left-handed pitchers, he is 336. So he would almost certainly be an excellent platoon guy, even though I just said he probably doesn't want to be a platoon guy. But if we were to have that, which seems to be the way that the front office wants to do things with the Diamondbacks, is have two rosters, a right-handed and a left-handed. So if that were the case, he would fit in very well here, so long as he's okay with playing that way. He last year signed a 1-year, $12.5 million contract with the Yankees. It's estimated now that he's probably worth about $7.2 million in the upcoming 2026 season, which would, if we signed him for that, make him our 6th most expensive player. So he wouldn't be like this crazy, huge, big signing, but it's not nothing either. Like that's a fair chunk of change, especially on a team that's trying to reduce their payroll this year. And so if it was between sign Goldschmidt and less talented bullpen arms, or sign like Josh Bell or something for less, and then sign more qualified or more talented pitchers, I don't know. I can see either way, but I do think that Goldschmidt would provide a really good leadership quality to the team, and would help in a lot of ways, and add that veteran feeling that I think the Diamondbacks need. And whether it's Goldschmidt or not, I think we need veterans to be on the team. McCann was that, and I think re-signing him would be a really good idea as well. And the thing that's nice is that Pavin Smith is currently our platoon first baseman against right-handed pitchers. So we have Pavin Smith against righties, Paul Goldschmidt against lefties. You got a pretty good little duo there. Then we have Tyler Locklear, who he'll come back in. He may need some more time in AAA, especially coming off of the injury. So that would free him up to kind of develop a bit more. But that would be, I think, a really good fit. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. There are, if you look up right now online, Paul Goldschmidt, every single thing about him is, hey, he should go to the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks should sign Paul Goldschmidt. Oh, that would be a perfect fit. Not to mention, oh man, what an amazing way to rile up the fan base to say, hey, guess who's coming back? Paul Goldschmidt. And, in addition to Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen or whatever, look at these guys we're bringing back to the team. Isn't this great? I think the fan base would eat that up. I think they would absolutely love that. And also, that would give the Diamondbacks even more motivation. Not that they need it, but more motivation to make the postseason this year, make a real run. Goldschmidt deserves, I mean, looking at what from an objective point of view, Goldschmidt deserves some accolades. some more accolades, some team accolades. He's got Golden Gloves, he's got Silver Sluggers, but he's even got MVP. But he needs. I think it would be cool to get him some more playoff exposure and to do it on the team that he started with. I think that would be very cool. Plus, then if he does go to the Hall of Fame, he's more likely to go in as a Diamondback. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, you guys, that's the show. Be sure to follow us on X and Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Diamondbacks. We're on YouTube as well as every other place where you get your podcasts. If you want to see more of me, you can find more of my YouTube channels and projects on my website at slackshack.tv. Thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every single day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you first thing Monday morning.